Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us here on Research on the Road. Emily, take it away.
All right, well, today we're going to talk about Helioderma lizards, and they're actually a group of lizards that are interesting in general, but especially because they are actually the only group of venomous lizards that live in North America. And so we have two species that live in North America. That is the Gila monster, which a lot of people have heard of, and a little further south we have the Mexican beaded lizard. So they're they're a small group of odd reptiles, and they have a long paleontological history as well. So we have Michael first to introduce the actual fossil history of these lizards before we introduce the lizards themselves. So Michael, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, so like Emily said, these animals there's, I believe, 5 living species in the genus Heloderma, and they belong to the family Helodermatidae. And the name Heloderma means studded skin, and it refers to the osteoderms, kind of like the little pieces of bony armor that are found in the head, neck, and body of these helodermid lizards. And there are a couple of lizards considered to be ancestors of modern Gila monsters and beaded lizards that lived in Mongolia back in the late Cretaceous period and would have coexisted and walked alongside and probably even been eaten by close relatives of Velociraptor, cousins of Tyrannosaurus rex, before that whole group immigrated to North America, and an interesting group of dinosaurs called Elverasaurids. And these lizards, there are 2 species that I know of that are both found in this formation in Mongolia. And these lizards do seem to be fairly conservative in morphology, even over all this time. Now, they don't look identical to modern Gila monsters and beaded lizards, but it's similar enough that I've heard these species, or this group, referred to as living fossils. I mean, we have the genus Heloderma, which is the same genus as the one that exists today, back in the Miocene, I think, about 10 million years ago. So they've been around quite a while. But even back in the Cretaceous period, these ancestors of the whole group, they are pretty similar to the modern representatives in the fact that they have venom grooves in their teeth and venom glands, so we can tell that these animals are venomous. And what's cool about that is we can look at the skulls of modern venomous animals and their extinct relatives to figure out how the extinct ones compare to the modern ones, and that way we might be able to more accurately pick out venomous animals in the fossil record that do not have living representatives, such as dinosaurs. We might have a venomous dinosaur one day. I don't think that's too, out of the realm of possibility by any means. But yeah, that's the very brief paleontological history or record I could find of this group. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Daniel so we can see one in the flesh.
Hey everybody, Wildman Dan here. How's it going? Today I've got a really cool guy or gal, I should say, that I'm going to introduce to you guys. Her name is Naja. She is my beaded lizard. I believe she is a Rio Fuerte beaded lizard, which means that she comes from southern Sonora to northern Sinaloa. But she is a Mexican beaded lizard. She is beautiful and has quite a bit of an attitude, let me tell you. So you may hear a little bit of hissing, you may see the mouth opening a little bit, but she doesn't want to hurt me. She's just a little weary. We're still working on socializing. But let me grab her. She's actually right behind me. Hi, honey. These guys actually love eggs, and I'll show you them eating one here in like 2 seconds. But let me go ahead and bring her out really gently. So what you want to do, since they are a venomous species, you want to stay clear away from that head area. We don't want to get bit. But we also want to be a little gentle with her because I don't want her to get a little too scared there. So this right here is Naja. She is my Mexican beaded lizard, and she is absolutely beautiful. one stunning animal. I mean, like the pattern on them alone is just enough to take your breath away, honestly. I absolutely love this species as well as Gila monsters, Helioderma in general. The really cool thing about them and the reason why they're called beaded lizards is because when you actually feel one, it feels like beads. Now, how is this possible? The reason why this is possible is because of a word that we're going to learn today, which is called osteoderm. Osteoderm means to have bone in the skin, and that's exactly what you're going to see here. You're going to see little tiny bones that are actually embedded into the skin that the actual animal has, and this creates its armor. This is how it protects itself, and it has it literally from the tip of its head way up here all the way to the tip of the tail. Now, with most Helioderma, what they're going to do is you'll usually see them with fat tails. Most of the beaded lizards have more of a prehensile tail because they are known to climb up in trees and stuff, while the Gila monster is more going to be found on the ground. They usually have really, really thick tails, and the reason for that is the store fat for their winter while they're hibernating. So that's what this guy does. But just a beautiful, beautiful species. And like I always say, especially with venomous animals, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not too sure, I recommend leaving it alone. It's not going to chase after you. It's not going to try to kill you or anything like that. They're actually a very slow species. They don't move extremely fast like let's say an iguana or desert iguana or any of the little lizards you see outside. They're more of the walk, move around, oh, get away from me, and hiss. But let me show you guys her eating an egg real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to place her right here. Oh, okay. What I'm going to do is we're going to crack open a couple eggs here. Oh. I just like to roll that in there. And then let me grab her real quick. See if I can. My messy room, everybody. Here we go. And there you have it. So like most reptile species, especially snakes, what you're seeing here, guys, is you are actually seeing one, this lizard using that tongue in order to taste. Now he's figuring out, okay, hey, I got an egg over here that just fell down, cracked open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat all that nice, delicious protein. So what she'll do is she'll use that tongue, she'll try to lap it up, and eventually she'll stick that entire mouth of hers way down in there to actually get all of that yolk and egg whites and everything. And oh man, but let me tell you, these guys absolutely love this stuff.
Daniel, I think you're muted.
Have I been muted this whole time?
No, you were telling us how much they absolutely love eggs, and then you cut out.
Oh, okay, thank God. I was like, do I have to start all over again? But yeah, no, they love eggs. I mean, like if they get a hold of something small, like a small ant mammal or even my finger, I guarantee you she will not hesitate to try to swallow it down whole. Because I have fed her rats before, also frozen chicken parts, etc. So just good to give them a nice what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a word. Diverse. Is that the word I'm looking for? Diet? No,
Yeah,
there's another word.
varied.
Yeah, varied diet. Thank you. Thanks, Emily. See, this is what Emily's for. But like I said, they're not super dangerous. They're not out to get you. They're just like puppy dogs that need to be taught that you don't bite the hand that feeds you. But she's a sweetheart. Venomous once again. Those
Well,
venom glands.
I'd say.
What? Go ahead. Yeah, you're saying?
Oh yeah. Better left in the wild, I think, rather than having to convince us that they're puppy dogs. I say just let them be, because now eggs and rodent nests are their typical wild diet, right? That would be what they would actually be, because they're not active hunters. They're more opportunistic feeders.
Exactly, yeah. Which is why they're so slow, and then also to the fact that their metabolism is a lot slower. So they're not going to be out chasing a rat for a mile and a half. They won't even chase it for 2 seconds. They'd rather go for the easy prey, which are like your rat pups, your newborn baby mice, or your eggs, or even your newly hatched birds. So that's what these guys do, and they're excellent at it. And that's why they have that armor, in order to protect them as they're unfortunately eating the young of the parents. They could protect themselves and then get away without getting damaged. But once again, these guys are venomous. They have a venom gland down there at the bottom jaw. It is not something to play around with, though they will not kill you, which I'm sure Emily's going to get into a little bit more. It does hurt a lot from what I have been told, and I do not want to find out ever, so I give her a lot of respect. They are protected species. Their populations have declined quite a bit because they are so popular in the pet trade. If you are going to get one, or you are thinking about getting one, please do me a huge favor and do all of us a favor in the Herpetological Society, as Christians and also as just lovers of creation, and as well as conservationists. Get yourself one that is captive bred. Get one from somebody who actually bred them in the United States or wherever it is that you live, so that we can slow down and stop the collection of these guys in the wild, so that their population numbers can get back up. Habitat loss is another big factor there. That is something that we're all going to have to work on together. But I think together, these guys can make a huge comeback and be prolific in the wild. But this, once again, is Naja. She is a captive bred, and she is one beautiful, hungry Helioderma.
Thanks, Daniel. That's awesome. So her name, Naja, is that means dragon?
I didn't know that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, Indonesian for dragon. So well suited to her name. So like Daniel mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the venom. So we talked about how they're opportunistic. They eat things that aren't necessarily going to be running away from them, and because they don't have the capability of giving much chase to anything that's trying to avoid them. They're better as a defensive animal that doesn't move very much. And he also mentioned that they spend a lot of time underground and are very slow moving. So one thing about Gila monsters in particular is that they will eat rarely, and they will try to eat a lot. So because they're not certain when their next food source is going to come, they're going to eat as much as possible when they have the opportunity to do so. And so they can actually consume about a third of their body weight in one sitting, and then go months and months without eating anything. So it's an interesting way of feeding that they are particularly suited for through some of the compounds that are in their venom. So their venom allows them to quickly subdue something were they to have the potential to actually sneak up on it and grab it. They have very strong jaws, and what they do is they hold on, and they hold on tight, and the venom grooves kind of allow them to get it into the animal more quickly, and they have a large surface area of their mouth so that they can envenomate quite a bit of venom in more rapidly. And so part of the venom is actually these really interesting enzymes that are well, they're not enzymes, they're actually a hormone type of protein. And so in humans, we have it's called the glucagon-like peptide, and that is useful to, when you eat, your body releases that, and it stimulates insulin production so that you can digest your food. And insulin is released anytime you eat something as a response to allow your to get the nutrients that they need. Unfortunately, we also have the problem of having difficulties with our insulin production, or with our ability to use insulin properly, and that is diabetes. So anytime there's problem with your own body's production or ability to use insulin properly, that is either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is very, very common. The World Health Organization reports that more than 400 million people in the world have it. So it's common, and it's becoming more common. And there's a variety of drugs that are around that can treat it, but it's not something that you can cure. And as these drugs that are available, your body becomes resistant to it. And the problem is there's people who are already on the maximum dose of these drugs, and they are still not able to control their blood glucose. And so they can that can lead to a lot of damage to the body and have harmful and lasting effects. So scientists realized that there's a reason that these Gila monsters are able to eat so infrequently and digest so slowly. And that ability to digest slowly is a property of a compound that they produce that's called exendin. And you can think of it as exendin extending delaying the digestion process. So it actually makes it so that the food that you've eaten is actually digested more slowly, and that the nutrients in there are incorporated into your body tissues more slowly as well. And this exendin hormone protein mimics the glucagon-like peptide that our body produces. So if your body's not responding to insulin, or your body is not actively producing this hormone, we can use this protein that we've taken and isolated and synthesized, that we can actually replicate in a laboratory setting and mass produce, and we can give that to people who have diabetes, and it works to slow their digestion as well and slow the release of sugar into their body so that their insulin production can keep up with it. And so it's been around since 2005. It was actually accepted by the FDA and clinically approved for use. And diabetics have been using it as a drug in severe cases since then. And it's called exendin is the actual protein name, but the brand name is called Byetta. And so it has a wide range of glucoregulatory effects. So it regulates the amount of glucose that's in your blood, which is very, very important for diabetics. It slows down your not only your stomach, your gastric emptying, but it actually kind of slows down your metabolism itself. It makes it so that you're not as hungry. So you're going to eat less, you're going to process it more slowly, and it's going to go to your cells more slowly so that your body has time to register, has time to incorporate it, and actually uses it properly. So it's been immensely helpful in the diabetic community, and it's one of the success stories of drugs that have been made based on our knowledge of wildlife and our ability to know more about these important animals, and also to benefit from that, as if they weren't beneficial enough in their coexistence with us that we get to enjoy watching this, but that we can actually, the more that we learn, the more that we study these endangered species, the more that we can benefit ourselves as a society. And there's venomous animals in particular. There's a number of potential and existing drugs that are very, very helpful for pain issues, or this one is for diabetes, and it's a growing field and a really important field, and it just goes to show that there's so many sides of conservation beyond just appreciating the animals as they are, which we should do anyway. So if you guys have anything to add on top of that, that's about where I wrap up my presentation. So we talked about the history of the beauty of and the for benefiting from these awesome lizards, our Helioderma genus. And Daniel, you want to send us off with Naja?
Hey, yeah. So, like Emily said, there are lots of uses and great examples of how these venomous animals can benefit us in multiple ways, as well as showing you how they're not really out to get you. They're defensive because they're scared of getting stepped on or predated or captured by humans. But other than that, if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. And then how cool is it to find something that's in the fossil record that's still alive today? That's all I gotta say. I mean, look at how cute she is. We're just hanging out on my bed. She's enjoying a meal. I'm enjoying watching her, and she's not biting my face. Thank God, because
You're
that would.
face to face with a living fossil.
Oh, that's great. And her name means dragon again, right?
Dragon.
Dragon.
Is that one of my teaching containers?
We could talk about whether or not they're actually living fossils, but that's another discussion for another time.
Oh, I forgot Michael's on the line.
Hey, he's the one who introduced the term. I don't know, Michael.
That's true. I said I saw them referred to as living fossils.
Well, what is the definition of a living fossil?
That's where the problems begin. Yeah, it's a problematic term, but
It's something of
that's
an
going to get me on a rabbit
oxymoron in
trail.
itself.
Yeah.
Well, it's living and it's pretty rock solid if you ask me. Trust me.
That's fair.
I mean,
but no, I mean, like, just appreciate animals and welcome to Research on the Road. This is what is this called again? What's this feature?
Live stream with the team?
But isn't this showcase our pets or something like that?
Not anymore. We're out of pets.
Oh, what about me?
For him. For Daniel.
But yeah, we can't. Hopefully, one of these days we'll actually be able to bring Naja and a couple other animals to the schools and to all of our viewers out there that are watching. Hopefully things with COVID slow down and you guys can actually get to see her in person, which we would all love to do and teach you guys up face to face. But for now, thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.